the sad thing about any marriage that parents said no, the sad thing is that the highest percentage of those marriages, they always break.
What's up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me on today's video. If you're new here, karibu sana. My name is Rozitta and this is a place where we embody truth. I'm excited today because I'm coming to you live from the Ole Ken Hotel, and I'm here with a very special guest, one of your favorite guests on this show, and we are going to be having a new episode of #AskDad. If you haven't subscribed, please make sure to subscribe and stay tuned. Coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, introducing to you Apostle Njoroge. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know we've planned this for so long, but we've been so busy. But asante sana for joining me today.
Thank you so much.
So the question you're here to answer today is, should parents be involved in the choice of a life partner?
The foundational truth about that is that it's very, very important to involve parents in the choice of a life partner. Except there are some prevailing circumstances in some families that may force somebody not to fully involve them. But as far as scriptures are concerned, it's very important to involve your parents.
Okay. But it's evident that most people prefer not to do that.
Absolutely.
Why is it like that? Why do you think it's so?
I have at least 6 reasons.
Wow.
Why many people prefer deliberately to just avoid anything to do with parents.
Okay, get your notes.
So, one of the very first reasons why many people prefer to avoid involving their parents in the choice of their loved ones is the fear of the complexity of the process of involving parents. Because there is a that process is so tedious. At times, it's not guaranteed that it's going to work. At times, that process may mean that some parents, some relatives, some uncles may bring some hindrances. And therefore, some people are in a hurry and they are not ready to go through the process. So that is the very first reason that many people are afraid of having to go through the complexity of the process.
Avoiding the process.
Yes, avoiding that process of you have gone to your parents, you have told them that you have fallen in love, and then they tell you, we need to see that person, and then they examine the person, they probably say no, or they have some few areas they feel that she may or he may not be the right person. And some of us are afraid of having to bring in somebody else to vet our decisions. So that's the first reason. The second reason that has made many people to prefer to just go their way without bringing their parents on board in the choice of their life partner is that others are not really sure about their relationship. They have some doubts and they want to do a rehearsal so that in case there is anything they can drop you with ease.
And they feel like if you go to the parents, it becomes serious.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Actually, that is one of the reasons why you should involve the parents for the security of the relationship. So many people who are not serious and very committed to the relationship, they don't want to bring people they honor, people they respect on board. They like to do it privately so that in case of anything, they can walk out with ease. That is the reason number 2. Number 3, why many want to avoid bringing parents on board is just to avoid the dowry issue. Because our African cultures and so forth have really embraced and valued the place of the dowry. And at times the parents and some families, they consider the dowry as a moment of you know, like gold digging. They
Yeah.
want to get as much money as possible. So if you are in love and you don't have that money, you're afraid about the dowry, so you prefer, no, let's just go ahead, get married, because once we get married, they cannot say no.
True.
And they have no otherwise they will allow me to like be paying in installments and so forth.
Yes.
And that the dowry factor has really made many people not to want to go through the honorable process.
Okay.
And then number 4
Yes.
is undervaluing the importance of marriage. There are people who just have not really understood the value of marriage, because marriage is a very, very great decision, because you are taking someone and you are beginning a generation. That is, you're going to get children, you're going to get sons and daughters.
Yes.
And those sons and daughters will also give birth to sons and daughters. So you are beginning a very, very important institution that you are not supposed to go just alone. But some people get into marriage without even understanding marriage. And as a result,
Yes.
they don't think that it's important to consult experts.
Okay.
They just want to go on because of lack of proper understanding about the lifelong implication of that decision.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you were to just think that it is for life, you'd want to be sure.
Okay.
You'd want expert advice. You'd want to talk to people who have experienced this.
And have confirmation.
Yeah.
Approvals.
You'd like some people to check whether your decision is right.
Yeah.
You know, so that as you start off, you know, for example, when it comes to aviation,
Yes.
no plane takes off without proper clearance,
Wow.
because they know
Yes.
that once you take off, if there was anything that they left out,
Yeah.
there's going to be crash landing. And the one plane, the price
Yeah.
to buy one plane is too much.
Yes.
And then the insurance cost, because you got to pay every passenger on board.
Yeah.
So they are very, very meticulous before they say you are cleared for takeoff.
Wow.
And I also think that marriage is also very valuable, that you should not just take off.
Yeah.
Otherwise, within 3 months or so, you're going to crash land.
Yeah.
And that is why many people avoid, because they undervalue the institution of marriage.
Okay.
And then number 5 is because of what I call unbridled courtship period, uncontrolled courtship period. People have no boundaries. They are in a hurry. They are so passionate. They are so emotional. They are not sober. They are not looking at that relationship in a sober way. So in the process, you will find that this kind of people, they engage in premarital sex. And when that happens, it could lead to pregnancy. As a result, they now like accidentally find themselves married because of uncontrolled courtship period. Yeah, so there are many people who have married like that. They intended to have a very nice church wedding. They wanted to involve their valued people. They wanted to, because they have supported other people in their weddings, they wanted to do it in such a way that they can also be able to reap the benefits of what they have already sown in the lives of others. But due to lack of self-control, when they meet, they only talk about, I love you, you are beautiful, you are figure, and so forth. Then the other one says, I'm not breathing, and so forth. And so, you know, all these things, they like trigger passions that will finally lead them to bed. When that happens, you are already expecting, and since you had maybe promised to marry, you just say, okay, let's just go on. So there are many people who have married like that. So the shame of not waiting makes them feel that it's no longer necessary to involve parents. Then we have number 6 is poor relationship with parents or failed parenthood.
I think that one is major.
That is very major, because some people come from very dysfunctional families. The father is not a good father and also not a good husband. then the mother is not a good mother, is not also a good wife. So if you come from a family like that, you may end up concluding that their input is negligible. Because if they had anything good, they should have used it to build their own. So with that understanding, you find that there are many people, they don't want to involve parents because they have come from dysfunctional family. Or along with that is where children have a very poor relationship with their parents. You have not been talking, you don't involve your parents in whatever you are doing, and the parents are used to that. So the attachment between you and your parents is so weak that even on an important matter like this, you feel there is no need to just follow them, to involve them, and so forth. So those are the major reasons that has made a lot of young people not to want to involve their parents in the choice of their loved ones. And they may appear legitimate, but I still insist, do your best to involve people who have experienced this thing. Expert advice is very important. Even a failure can advise you how not to fail.
Wow. Tell them.
So that is very, very important. And especially if you receive an advice from a failure. So when you look at your parents, you see them as people who have failed. You might be surprised that in their failing, they have discovered their mistakes. They have discovered what not to do. So if you listen to them, if you just try to let them know that, Mom, Dad, this is what I want. You come from a single family. Let them know that you don't condemn your mom for being single or for being divorced, because there are so many reasons that you may not know that led to that decision. So giving them that chance to just give you a little input, because at the end of the day you're going to get married. But just allow them, let them air to you their vision of your marriage and so forth. It will be very, very wise and helpful.
Wow. So you've told us the reasons why people avoid going to their parents to tell them what's happening with your love life.
Correct.
Why should we do that in the first place? Why should I come and tell you, Dad, so there's this man, he looks like this, nini. Why should I come to you?
I have prepared at least 7 reasons.
Hey, today you're overdosing us.
Because for me this is so important, because I believe that every serious investment requires consultation.
Wow.
If you are really ready to invest in a lifelong relationship, consultation is a must.
Wow.
You need to consult, because it is something very important, and you don't consult anywhere. You consult from trusted quarters.
You don't go on Facebook asking.
No, on Facebook can tell you a lot of things. They'll confuse you. So it would be very, very wise to consult people who are in it, whether they have succeeded or they have failed. I have always said, even a fool has something to say. So always be ready to learn. So there are several reasons why you should involve parents. I'll give us about 7. Number 1, the very, very first reason why you should involve your parents is because it's a gesture of great honor.
Honor them.
When you honor your parents, you involve them. You involve them in important matters of your life. And the Bible says in Ephesians 6, verses 2 and 3, honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise. And that promise is that it may be well with you and thou mayest live long on the earth. So if you honor, if you just do that act, that Daddy, I come to you, Mom, I come to you because I've fallen in love and I want to get married. And I want your input. You have honored them. And because of honoring them, you now qualify for this promise. It will be well with you, and then you will live long. So that is the very first reason. It's so very important to honor your parents. Even if they have not been up to whatever you expected, they have done a lot for you to, they have lived with you over 20-something years. and now you just bolt off without honoring them. I think it would be very unfair. It would be very honorable to go back to your parents, let them know what you intend to do.
Okay.
Then number 2 reason as to why you should involve your parents is for blessings.
Oh, you need
For blessings. You need parental blessings. You know, there are only 3 sources of blessing. There are 3 channels of blessings on earth.
Yeah.
There is God, there is the parents,
Yes.
and there is the man of God. So if you are getting blessed from God directly, then you must have done what it takes to get blessed directly.
Yeah.
If you cannot get blessed directly by God, you go to your parents. Because if your parents blesses you, that blessings is backed by God.
Okay.
Then if a man of God blesses you, I mean, there is nothing wrong with being blessed from the 3 sources.
Yeah.
It will be very, very good. So the generation nowadays that we have has a terrible weakness of underestimating the value of blessings. And you know, blessings is an impartation that is spiritual but produces physical results. So when a parent says, my child bless you, have children, have properties, prosper in all that you do, it means a lot. You cannot get what you get using certificate in comparison to what you get by what they say.
Wow.
That is why there are people who have even gotten married and the words of their parents have broken the marriage. So you can go ahead, get married, and then they begin to speak, and finally you separate. Like I remember one interesting thing I was told about a certain mother who didn't like the daughter.
The daughter-in-law.
Yeah. And they had not been, they never involved their parents. So the mother-in-law swore that this marriage won't work. She just said, go ahead, it won't work. As far as I'm concerned, my son, you are not married.
What?
Yeah. So and of course this generation, that is not a big deal. Yeah, so they just went ahead, married, and before long the mother-in-law came to the compound and repeated, I said this marriage will not work. And she dropped down salt in their compound.
What?
Just sprinkled some salt and left. 7 days later, they could not even want to talk to each other. The lady had been beaten so terribly, and the marriage came to an end. So instead of avoiding all these things, why don't you just seek the blessing from your parents so that you avoid unnecessary battles?
From the beginning.
Yeah, from the beginning. Because I have always believed that we have enough battles. We should not add any further.
True. We don't need any
we
more.
don't need any more. So we seek blessings. A good example from the Bible is Genesis 24 and verse 60 about Rebecca. Rebecca, when she was getting married, she involved her parents, and then the parents blessed her. They told her, you're going to be a mother of, actually they said mother of thousands of millions. And you know, when she went, she was barren for 13 years. But the blessing was upon her. So it broke the barrenness. And scripture is so interesting because when she conceived and went to God in prayer, God told her, you have 2 nations. So she didn't have twins as we would talk today. She had 2 nations. So you see, the parental blessing came to pass. Yeah, so it's important you tell your parents for blessings. And that one you cannot get from anywhere. And then number 3 reason for the security of marriage. This is what we were talking about. If somebody is serious, he will take you to their parents. If he's not committed, he will want you to jump through the window and then your pronouns husband and wife. You self-declare yourself. So this is so bad. But I really believe that when you involve your parents, you are securing the relationship. You are showing your spouse that you want serious commitment, and you want people who can be witnesses to the decision. So if he's also committed, he will also want his parents on board. and you will also involve your parents.
True.
If you say you want to involve the man of God, he will not resist, because he knows that this is a major investment and every consultation is necessary. So we do that for the security of marriage.
Okay.
You know, it is easier to call it quits if the parents are not involved. Yeah, because you are not going to be ashamed.
Not accountable.
Yeah, you're not accountable to anybody. You just go to your parents. They know that their son is not married. So you married 3 months and you didn't involve them. You just drop and go back, and they have no question. But if you involve them, and then you go home alone, they will ask you, where is she? Or he? You know, and and you can't just pack and go. That is why it's very, very important. So if you want the security of your marriage, please go through your parents. And then number 4 reasons why you should involve your parents is because of parents may not know what you will like, but they know what kind of a person you need.
Wow, repeat.
Parents may not know what you will like, but they know what kind of a person you need, because they have stayed with you so long. They know what kind of a person who will be a value adder into your life.
Wow.
So they may not know what kind of a person you like, but at least they have an idea. They have an idea that if my daughter gets a bold man, if my daughter gets a man that is, you know, stable, somebody that is, whose character is unquestionable, they know that their daughter is going to have a happy marriage. And that is why where the parents come in. You come to them and just a little look, just greeting, drinking something with the parents, and they have already picked something in their antenna. They have already known that there is no hope. This one is a crook. Yeah. So it is so important to not ignore people who have stayed with you from the very first day you landed on this planet until now, that you can tell what you want. They have learned a lot. So listening to them, that is the number 4 reason.
I remember there's a day I was talking to Mom. And I told her about someone. And she told me, I, Rose, I know you very well, and he can't be the one.
Exactly.
It makes sense.
It is so true. I can tell you for sure. I can tell you for sure. That is something that I've proven. Because if for example, you ask me what kind of a person you need, I have an idea. The qualities that would make a great combination. I know, because I've stayed with you. I know your weakness. I know your strength. I know your desires in life. So I know for those desires to come to pass, you need a certain kind of a person. So we cannot tell you to like to just like anyone, because it is about your heart. And that's why the Bible warns us about the heart. Because the heart is very deceptive. Anybody can love anyone. That's why we have seen some teenagers loving an old woman. So it's just so funny about love. All right, number 5. Number 5 reason why you should involve your parents is because they have experience. They have advantage in terms of experience. They have been married. Whether their marriage has been shaky or successful, or even if they have failed, they have that advantage. They have been there. So it is like asking a guide to a city you have never been, but this person has lived there. You know, it is very easy to tell you, hey, avoid this route, there is a traffic jam. So asking your parents about marriage, I'm telling you the truth, they have that added advantage. They've been married. They made the choice that you're about to make. And they know the challenges they have gone through. And if there is regrets, that one is also adding to their wisdom bank. If they have successes, all that is makes them wiser. So it's always very good to involve them. And then number 6, because they know you well enough.
Wow.
They know their son, they know their daughter. So if you bring somebody else, they can sense the compatibility index. They can sense it because it's like the way in mathematics you are given 2 plus, is it 2 plus x equals some y there, and then you are told find y. And you know, if you have been given one side, it is very easy to get the other side. So the parents, they know how to locate the y, because they already have you. Yeah, that is the number 6 reason, which is very, very important. You know, in the Bible there is this guy, he's called Esau. Esau did not involve his parents in the choice of a loved one, of a life partner. So Esau would take the Canaanites women, and then he would notice that the parents are really hurting for his decision. Like in Genesis 26 verses 34 and 35, the Bible says, and Esau was 40 years old when he took to wife Judith, the daughter of Beer the Hittite, and Bashemath, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, which were a grief of mind unto Isaac and to Rebekah. Not the mother, not the father. Why would you marry somebody to come give high blood pressure to your mom and dad? Why would you marry someone who will come to trouble the people who have taken care of you until he found you? It does not make sense.
Doesn't.
So by chapter 28, Esau discovered his mistake. And when he discovered his mistake, he decided to go now marry using direction from the parents. But still, there is no need to make mistake, because you are not going to be polygamous, so you don't need to do rehearsal like with the 2 people, and then you get it right with the third one. Okay? So that is the number 6 reason. Your parents know you very well. And then lastly, you are bringing in-laws to them. Marriage is not a private affair. It is not a two people thing, because it is only for you two when it comes to matters regarding living in the house. But beyond that, you'll be surprised you have a clan of thousands. And now you're bringing this son or this daughter to them. It is only fair for them to vet. For lack of better word, allow them to vet the person that you are bringing to them, because when you bring that individual to them, you want them to accept the person without any condition. You want them to love him or her the way you are also you have loved that person. So it is it is wise to let them know that from the very beginning that this is a person I've fallen in love, and I really want your support. So if the parents don't design anything, they will support. And that being the number 7 reason, it is very important for you to know that you carry their hope for the next generation. They are looking at you as their ticket for the next generation. And therefore, cutting them off is so hurtful and dishonorable. And I think that is why many people who have done this, they struggle. They can continue using, their resilience and their diligence and patience to make their marriage work through self-discipline and so forth. But I'm telling you, it is always hard. But when your parents are on board and they're supporting you, they are believing in you, they are encouraging you, it is far easier. So I really support that everybody should make sure they involve their parents when it comes to the choice of a life partner. However, there is the question of what if you come from a dysfunctional family? You come from a family where you have a very poor relationship with your parents. I believe in instances like that. Within the family circle, there is an uncle, there is an auntie.
So it's not a must for it to be your mother.
If you really know that your mother will not be of any help, get a relative who is already married, who can be your spokesman in the family.
Okay.
Because whether you go your way or not, the truth of the matter that is undeniable, you are bringing in-laws to them.
Okay.
And there are areas that you will need them. For example, talk about, God forbid, you lose your child. You cannot bury that child alone.
Yes.
You will need the family to come and comfort you. Just to mention but a few. So by all means, involve parents
Okay.
in the choice of a life partner.
Okay. Maybe you have somebody and he or she is wondering, nitaanza wapi? Like, where do I begin from? Because maybe their parents are very unapproachable. What can you tell parents in terms of being approachable? Like, what should parents do so that they can, their kids or their children can feel more, they can feel safe to approach them, for a better word. Like, I can feel safe coming to you. What can you advise parents?
Okay. Yeah, parents have really been failing in creating a good rapport with their children.
Yes.
Probably because of the challenges that are going on in the world, especially financial challenges, and then work-related matters, and then their own upbringing has destroyed them. Yeah, so if they were brought up in a very terrible way, they also, that means they are terrible parents. So if you're a child from such people, you will have a lot of problem, because the parents, all they care, have you eaten? You have beddings, you have gone to school, don't bother me. So if you come from a family like that, the parents are really failing. But I would really challenge parents, please take time to care for your children, especially when it comes to serious decisions like marriage, because you cannot be quiet, negligent, absent, and then expect your children to involve you in their very important times. Yeah, like I remember there was this particular couple. The father was an absent dad. He did not care for they had about 4 daughters, and he was totally absent. So the mother literally brought up the girls alone. When they were sick, she took them to the hospital. When they needed school fees, when they were sent for school fees, she's the one that struggled. But comes the time, the lady, the firstborn, needed to get married. And the other side, they wanted to bring dowry. The guy resurfaces. He is ready to receive. I mean, there are some shameless parents, but I want to challenge parents, please, you don't become a parent because you fathered or because you mothered. You become a father or a mother because you did motherhood, you did fatherhood. And fatherhood is not a one-time thing. You got to be there. You got to involve yourself. You've got to be concerned. Let your love be with action. Follow your children. Talk to them, listen to them, do the best you can to make your children as comfortable with you as possible. Let them know that they can confide in you. Because if you don't do that, definitely it will be very hard for the kids to come to you, tell you, Dad, I want to get married. Even your child, you even don't know your child, what they are, the challenges and so forth. So even when it comes to your input, it could be a wrong input.
Okay. And now that you've mentioned about letting your parents know about a relationship, at what point should we approach our parents, telling them there's this man, there's this lady? At what point? Is it at the beginning of the relationship? Is it when things are starting to get a little bit serious? Is it when we get engaged? At what point should we approach parents?
For me, I would approach right from the beginning.
Okay.
Where you are ready for marriage, so let them know that you are trusting God to get a life partner. Okay. So that they can wish you well, because that's also another complex field. In the how do you get the right person? So you have their blessing. They know that you are really ready to get married, or maybe you can tell them, Mom, Dad, I wish to get married in 2 or 3 years. Then they will ask you, do you have somebody in mind? Then the conversation begins. Okay. No, not yet, but I'm thinking about it. So you have already started.
Okay.
So when you get, you say, I have somebody in mind, I'll bring this person, I'd like you to check him out for me.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, you started. So you are not coming, you are not coming with a concluded decision, because that is where many young people make a mistake. You come with a very closed mind, that I've made up my mind, and I've brought them just to stamp, and even if they don't, you go ahead. That is where you begin family conflicts which are not necessary. So don't, before you really become serious, make sure your parents have already seen the person.
Okay.
So that it becomes conclusive with their input.
Okay.
That is easier, instead of, you know, you conclude among the two of yourself, because
you go to reports.
Yeah, I remember, I've just remembered about Bishop David Oedipo. I had him give a testimony about himself, that he was madly in love with another lady. And because they were both Christian, very committed, they decided to go report to their parents that they love each other. So when Bishop reported the lady to their parents, Bishop's parents had no problem. But when the lady reported Bishop to their parents, they had a problem with the tribal factor, because the bishop was from a different tribe. So when the lady, Bishop saw that, he said, it's okay, no problem, because the Bible says, honor thy father and mother, so that you may live long and that you may live well. So he said, I want to live long and I want to live well. I wish you well, my sister. May God bless you. And he walked off and went on and fell in love with Pastor Faith. And he was saying that if he went ahead to force his love on that lady, there would be no winner's chapel on earth.
Wow.
Because that lady shortly after that backslid and became something else.
Okay.
So that's why I'm saying, go through the parents. There is something. They cannot, both parents cannot be wrong.
True.
There is one parent who should be able to sense the future. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how should parents respond when they are approached by their kids that this is the man, this is the lady? How should they respond?
All right. I think, first of all, the parents, they should, first of all, appreciate the honor.
Okay.
Appreciate that your child has honored you. And therefore, take that moment with the seriousness, with the love and care. Because how they respond could either build or destroy their relationship with their kid. Yeah, so the first thing I really believe every parent should first of all appreciate the honor of being informed.
Okay.
And then once you do that, I believe the next thing, the parent should actually be receptive. Be receptive because you have been introduced to someone. So be receptive. Whether you have a negative, you have felt something negative or not, that is somebody else's child. It's only that that child may not be the right one for yours.
Okay.
So you don't have to throw tantrums. You don't have to just think about what you can get in terms of money. It's good to be as sensible and sober as possible before you deliver the verdict.
Okay.
Yes.
And if the verdict is no, how should a parent say it so that they cannot destroy their relationship with their kids? Because I'm aware there are parents who say no to a certain relationship, and that destroys their relationship with their kids. How should they say no?
Yeah, I think it is very proper to use great wisdom. Like, for instance, you can, if you're talking to your daughter, you can tell your daughter that this person has no problem. He's a good person. But as far as your destiny is concerned, there is no compatibility.
There's some mismatch.
Yeah, there is something that is wrong that will come and ruin your future. Okay. So I think that is a soft truth. Instead of just saying, I don't want that one. He does not have money. I think it is good to really be as logical as possible and as wise as possible. And especially because of the fact that you are dealing with the issues of emotions. Your daughter, your son is in love.
Yeah.
So you cannot just say anything, because if you say anything, the truth of the matter, they will live there and they will go straight to get married.
Yeah.
So it's very good as a parent to be very wise when you are delivering any verdict, any suggestion, be as wise as possible. I remember there is somebody who came to me who treats me as a parent, and when he told me what he wanted, I even didn't know the lady. He came alone. He came alone, and he said they are fallen in love and so forth. And I just said, no, that person is not for you. From nowhere, because there is a way when you are fully attached to somebody, just saying it or seeing a picture is enough to tell you. You don't even need to talk, you don't need even to do anything. When you are very well connected to a person. So I really think the parents should be very, very careful when they are giving their ruling. They should know their ruling is not like a final decision. They should just know is a suggestion, because at the end of the day, it's not them who are getting married. So they should give it as a suggestion, not as a command. Because if you give it as a command as a parent, then your children may decide to rebel. But if you suggest, using wisdom, that my daughter, I suggest that you look for someone, maybe you have a problem with a particular tribe, just suggest and say, hey, my daughter, I really suggest that you avoid other tribes. I would be very comfortable. I would be very peaceful, and I would want my grandchildren to come from the same tribe. I would like to be able to communicate to my grandchildren. You know, just some level of wisdom and some peace in the words. Yes.
As we come to a close, I'd like to ask you one final question. Assuming I'm the daughter, I've come to you, the verdict you've given is a no. How do you expect me to respond?
For me, I think you might want to have some time, because love cannot just be quenched. Like
it's not as sweet.
Yeah. And that is why in church we normally teach people how to break up. There's a process.
Right way.
Yeah, there's the right way to break up without having to hurt anybody.
You need to teach us that someday.
Yeah, I think maybe you can organize for next time how to break up without having to hurt somebody, because some people, they just hurt each other so deliberately, and even some parents are the ones who actually help severe the ties. They just come and say, there was no one else you could see. This one, you know, and that is so wrong. So for me, I really believe that as a parent, you should always be conscious that that child or that son or daughter is also a child of another parent. And there is nothing wrong in choosing something only to realize there was something better. Even in the supermarket, there are times you go, you want to buy something, and only to realize just next is something far better than the one you had picked first. So what you do, you just return it and you take the one you want. Similarly, when it comes to breakups, you should not think that your parents are against you. If in case the parent says no, don't think that your parents want you to remain a single person. There is always a divine reason as to why, because nobody, I believe on earth, there is no one who cares for their children like a parent, because if you rise, your glory is going to be harvested by their parents. If you suffer, they're the ones that are going to be ashamed. So that is why it is so very important to make sure that if they're doing this, don't overreact if you're told no. Just say, Mom, Dad, I receive your suggestion. Just give me time. And then during that time, now you can plan how to part with each other. Yeah, you don't have to throw your hands, use a different means of transport than the one you came. You don't have to do all that, because remember, this is an authority. You are dealing with a parent. Parents are authorities. So try to behave yourself as much as possible. Don't abuse them. Don't you know, misbehave before them. Tell them we appreciate your input. We know you have been married long enough, so you could be seeing things that we have not seen. So please just give us time, and then we shall be able to see how to go about this. Yes.
Final question. Assuming there is somebody who did all that, went to the parents, introduced the spouse to be, and they got a no, but they decided to go on with the marriage. And at this moment they're watching us and things are not working out for them. Is there anything they can do to sail through?
Yeah, there is always a way out. There is always a way out. While you may not be able to part, assuming that you went ahead, you have challenges, I believe it is always important to bring parents on board.
Okay.
Yeah, you let your parents know. That is why there are people who are married for 5 years, and after that they go back to their parents and they say, we messed. They bring a trespass. We call it trespass offering. You'll get something good to like pacify their hearts, that we know we went ahead, although you told us no, we really want you to forgive us for disobeying you, and so forth. I want you to receive my wife, or I want you to receive my husband, and so forth. It is a very tough issue. It requires a lot of patience and humility on the children to try to bring their parents on board, because at times some of those trains they may be mental. Your parents said no, and therefore now whatever conflict you have, you think it is connected to them, and it may not necessarily be connected to them. It might be connected to your own weaknesses of mind. You have no resilience, you have no patience, you are not ready to talk to each other and reason out things. So I believe you can always bring parents on board and not really continue blaming. But the sad thing about any marriage that parents said no, the sad thing is that the highest percentage of those marriages, they always break. Yeah, that's why it's a very good place to make sure it's a station you passed by before you entered into marriage. Yeah, because they have a way of ensuring the security of your marriage. If you don't go through them, then it might be very hard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this was such an insightful session once again with the episode #AskDad. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned. So much wisdom has been shared by Apostle Paul. So much has been shared from him, and I'm so grateful for having you here. It's always a good time when you're around here. We get to learn a lot.
Thank you.
And I'm pretty sure so many destinies get to be healed and to be helped. And at the end of the day, we have embodied the truth. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
Wow. Hey, yani ungeniambia nikuje na pen.
Si uko na video utadani.
Nitaandika nikisikiza. Hey, that was powerful.
Thank you. It's an area.
Producer hata asikii kumaliza.